There once was a king who loved his people so much that when he went on a pilgrimage over 4,000 miles to the Mecca, he lavished gold on all passers-by. He gifted so much gold, in fact, he practically bankrupted every city he passed through on his way to Mecca. And when he got there, well, he just kept giving and giving until he had no more money left. After finishing his pilgrimage, realizing what he had done, the king returned home and realized he had made a huge mistake. But before we get into the story, hello and welcome to the channel. Now back to our story. Mansa Musa was the king of the Mali Empire in the early 1300s. During his reign, the Mali Empire stretched from the Atlantic coast of West Africa all the way to the North African coast. That's about 4,000 miles. Under Mansa's rule, the empire reached its peak both in wealth and power. One day, Mansa decided to go on a pilgrimage over 4,000 miles to the Mecca. You see, Mansa had converted to Islam earlier in his life and he wanted to make the Hajj, which is the pilgrimage to Mecca for all Muslims to do at least once in their life. Now Mansa was not any ordinary man. He was the king of one of the richest empires in the world. So, he wanted to do this pilgrimage in style. He assembled a massive convoy that has become a thing of legend with over 60,000 men, 21 tons of gold, 33 tons of silver and untold amounts of other riches. There were elephant riders, infantry soldiers and artillery units. There were tents and mobile blacksmiths to repair weapons, along with tailors, barbers, cooks and entertainers. There were also architects and engineers who constructed impressive mosques wherever they stopped. As the convoy moved through towns and villages, Mansa lavished gold on passers-by. He gifted so much gold, in fact, that he practically bankrupted every city he passed through. According to historians, Mansa gifted about 75 pounds of gold per person. And since there were about 60,000 men in his convoy, that means that they were giving away about 4,500 pounds of gold every day. To put that into perspective, that's worth about $180 million today. So imagine if someone walked into your town and started handing out $180 million worth of gold every day. It would take them less than a month to bankrupt the entire city. Mansa's generosity was so legendary that many people believe that he single-handedly caused inflation in the cities he visited. After about 3 months of traveling, Mansa finally reached Mecca. Upon his arrival, he lavished even more gold on the pilgrims there and practically bankrupted the city. But it didn't matter because Mansa had come to the holiest city in Islam to repent for his sins and he had brought enough gold to buy his way into heaven. He built more mosques and gave more gold to the poor. In fact, he lavished gold on everyone. By the time he finished, Mansa had given away almost all of his gold. Realizing what he had done, Mansa set out on his way back home. On his way back, Mansa realized that he had made a huge mistake. He had given away too much gold, and now he had nothing to show for his 9-month journey. He realized that he had given away so much gold, in fact, that it would take the Mali Empire decades to recover. When he finally got back to the Mali Empire, he found that his empire was in shambles. The economy was in sharp decline and trade had nearly ground to a halt. Mansa had given away so much gold, in fact, that it practically had no value anymore. And the people of his empire were suffering because of it. Though Mansa tried his best to fix the damage he had done, it would take decades for the Mali Empire to recover from his spending spree. Though some historians say that Mansa's actions weren't as damaging as he made them out to be. While it's true that he did give away a lot of gold, the Mali Empire was still incredibly wealthy after his spending spree. In fact, some historians say that Mansa's actions actually helped the people of Mali because he gave them a chance to become wealthy. Others argue that Mansa's actions actually hurt the people of Mali because he devalued their currency and caused inflation. Ultimately, though, there is no denying that Mansa's pilgrimage to Mecca was one of the most extravagant in history. He assembled a massive convoy that has become a thing of legend, and he lavished gold on everyone he met. Whether his actions were ultimately good or bad for the people of Mali is up for debate. But there is no denying that they were incredibly generous. If you want to learn more about Mansa Musa and his pilgrimage to Mecca, I highly recommend reading the book Mansa Musa, The Story of an African King by John Henrik Clarke. It's a great book that gives a detailed account of Mansa's life and times. Now let's move on to the next part of the video. When Mansa set out on his pilgrimage to Mecca, he knew that it would be a long and arduous journey. He would have to travel through inhospitable lands and hostile peoples. But he was undeterred. Mansa Musa was a man on a mission, and he was determined to reach Mecca no matter what obstacles stood in his way. He assembled a massive convoy that included thousands of men, elephants and tons of supplies. He also appointed loyal and trustworthy generals to lead his army and protect him on his journey. But despite all of his preparations, Mansa never could have imagined the challenges that lay ahead. From sandstorms to battles with rival armies, Mansa and his convoy faced it all. But through it all, Mansa remained steadfast in his determination to reach Mecca. Even when his supplies were low and his men were exhausted, Mansa never gave up. He pushed on, knowing that he was fulfilling a sacred duty. Finally, after months of travel, Mansa and his convoy reached Mecca. It was a moment of triumph and relief. Mansa had completed his pilgrimage, and he had proven himself to be an intrepid traveler and a devout Muslim. Upon his return to Mali, Mansa was greeted as a hero. The people of Mali were proud of their king, and they celebrated his return with festivities and parades. Mansa's pilgrimage to Mecca had been a long and difficult journey, but it was a journey that had been worth it. Not only had he fulfilled a sacred duty, but he had also proven himself to be a man of unwavering determination and faith. The story of Mansa's pilgrimage to Mecca is an epic tale of adventure, faith, and perseverance. It is a story that has inspired Muslims for centuries, and it is a story that will continue to inspire for many years to come. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos. We've got lots of amazing stories that we can't wait to share with you.